Was that pretty good?
I think that was about as good as this episode of Bromdencast will be.
I had a fun time, but not as fun of a time. Not as fun of a time as the audience of Bromdencast is about to have.
On Bromdencast.
Tonight, I'm Grillbert Gottfried, the Gilbert Gottfried of grilling. If it exists, I'll grill it. And I'm here with my co-hosts. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Luke. I am a chemical engineer. Recently got into, met Grillbert here in high school, actually. And we decided to start Bromdencast together.
All right. Thanks, Luke.
Of course.
I'm here with my friends. My name is Zax Sputnik. Here with Grillbert and Luke.
Hi.
My friends.
Yes, hello.
And partners.
And partners in Bromdencast.
Partners in crime, even.
I wouldn't go that far.
I would never go that
far. Always the wisecracker, this one.
Always the criminal of the group.
Always the criminal, always the wisecracker.
Always the one who's red-handed.
All right. Should we just hop into it?
I think it's time that we introduce our special guest for this episode of Bromdencast.
No spoilers, but why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody! I'm Gilbert Gottfried. My voice might sound a little hoarse. It might sound a little different. I've been a little under the weather, but I swear it's really me, Gilbert Gottfried. I'm here on Bromdencast. I'm here to promote my new stand-up special, I Want to Kill My Wife. It's on Netflix right now. You can go see it. Go watch it. Go entertain yourselves. Hi, hello, yes, it's me.
Well, can I just say it's an honor to have you here, Mr. Gottfried.
It's an honor to be here.
It's more of an honor to have you here.
What was your name?
Gottfried.
My name is Grillbert
Grillbert.
Gottfried.
It's an honor to be here, Grillbert.
It's an honor to have you here, Gilbert. I'm a huge fan of your work in the Disney. I'm
a huge fan of my work too.
Oh wow, that's great. Right on, man.
See, that's one of my bits, and I Want to Kill My Wife. You should see that now.
I will. I'll go ahead and see that as soon as this interview is over, because I've heard it's on Netflix.
Wait, Gilbert. So the movie is currently on Netflix?
It's not a movie. It's a stand-up special.
The movie's on Netflix?
And it's currently on Netflix, and you can watch it right now. You can stream it. $8 a month with Netflix.
And what is the title of this movie on Netflix?
I Want to Kill My Wife.
This is normally something we do at the end of the interview.
But I think it's okay if we mix it up a little bit this time.
Yeah, Bromdencast has always been known for mixing it up a little bit. So I think...
For not doing anything that good shows ever do.
Anyway, let's jump right into the questions, I think, is what the audience is here for, to learn about Mr. Gottfried. Mr. Gilbert Gottfried, my first question...
Please, Mr. Gilbert Gottfried was my father. Call me Joseph.
Okay.
Wait, that was my friend. Let me mute my phone. I'm sorry. I'm very unprofessional.
No, of course. It happens to everybody. Mr. Gilbert, Mr. Joseph, I want to start off with a question I've been burning to ask you ever since I heard you as Iago in Aladdin 2. What is your most used emoji?
Oh, that's a really good question. I've been really emotionally provoked by the whale emoji recently. I just like when my wife, who's a fucking bitch, will always come to me and she'll be like, hey, did you get the groceries? I like to slap her with that majestic whale surfacing up in a C formation, and she never knows what to make of it. You should see the look on her face when she sees that.
Man, that's a hilarious story, Mr. Gottfried. I think it's going to go down in Bromdencast legend in the future. Thank you for sharing it.
You're welcome.
It just reminds me of something that happened to me once, which is, what did you name your first car?
Joseph!
After yourself?
Yes! No, after my father!
I thought Mr. Gilbert... I see.
That's very interesting. Zax, do you have a question for Joseph?
I do have a question. Okay, so Gilbert, answer this as honestly as you would like to, but what is your credit card number, the expiration date, and the 3 numbers on the back?
Well, hold on. I gotta pull it up.
Right, while Mr.
Let's
Gottfried
see.
is pulling it up, why don't we talk in really hushed tones into the microphone for a little bit?
Oh, my
I think
favorite thing to
that's,
do on
It's a great
Bromdencast.
idea. It's what we're known for here on Bromdencast.
My favorite segment of Bromdencast.
Okay, so
Bromdencast.
the credit card number of my wife, me, is 4, and the expiration date is April 20th, and the code's on the back is 211.
Wow, that's
All right. Well, I guess that's.
I've
good to know.
honestly never heard that answer before.
very unique.
That's
It's a
yeah.
very
you don't
unique
hear that one
answer.
often. You know, speaking of unique answers, Mr. Gottfried, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Which decade do you love the most, and why?
What was the year Aladdin came out?
I believe
that
that
was in the
In the
90s.
90s.
Hold on, I'm Googling it.
You don't need to Google it.
I'm Googling it. I just want to make sure I don't know. It's not 19. Okay, the 90s were a pretty good era, considering it had me as Iago in it. And, what else was I then? Hold on.
I think you were Iago in a few other Aladdin properties as
I
well.
was, but I think some of those were the 2000s. I'm not sure, though. Hold on. Let me go to my IMDb really quick. The internet nowadays, they can send a man to the moon, but they can't get me to click on Gilbert Gottfried's IMDb page in under a second.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I have that exact same thought.
I
Pretty
actually
I
much
was
every
Aladdin
other
in
day.
Nasira's
Same thing.
Revenge,
I'm never
the video
not.
game, and I voiced Iago then.
Which decade was that in, Mr.
That was
Gottfried?
that was 2000. That was the year 2000, though.
Was that an option?
Oh, I
That
was in the Hercules television show. I forgot about that.
As Iago?
No, I was, what was I? I was Cleon.
Of course, that was a
Oh,
very
right,
memorable
right,
character
yeah.
role.
I remember watching that episode a lot when I was sick at home, staying away from school, because Jonathan.
As I
actually,
am.
He put
Right
he put
now.
he put a rat in my my milk carton, and that gave me
That
Black
caused you
plague
to have
for
a
a few
rat
days.
down your throat.
just for a few days.
I think I was that rat. I
Modern
remember
medicine
that. I
is-
played
Oh,
that
wait.
rat.
modern medicine is a wonder, Zax.
And it's too bad we can't apply that technology to the internet.
If only.
So,
Right,
if you
I-
were famous, what would you be famous for, Mr. Gottfried?
I think I would be famous for my ability to grill anything. Because people usually call me the Gilbert Gottfried of grilling.
Well, you know, the thing about that is that doesn't really make any sense because you're already the Gilbert Gottfried of acting. So I don't see why you need to take both names and just apply them
Oh,
to
I
the
don't
same
know. I
person.
think it's a pretty notable thing to be, and I'm pretty sure I can also beat any other Gilbert Gottfried at grilling.
Well, there's no other Gilbert Gottfrieds in the room last time I checked. Why don't you just go ahead and tell me the best way to grill a steak so that it's medium
First,
rare?
you heat the charcoal to 480 degrees.
That's wrong.
You give it a little bit of paprika, and then you throw that bitch on there like a Bakugan. And
Listen to
then,
me.
And then you sort of you give it a little finesse with your fingers. You poke at it and you drill little holes into it, and in those holes you put little pockets of lemon juice. That's what they don't teach you. You gotta use lemon juice in the little finger pockets that you burst through the steak, and then you prepare it for a nice 13 minutes. Slap it on your tray, and you got yourself a good meal.
Listen to me,
tell you
Mr.
are-
Gottfried.
you're
What
very-
you've just
very
described as
passionate
those are the
about this.
ingredients for a thermonuclear bomb. You've just killed every person attending your barbecue.
No!
You've destroyed the
Spicy.
entire state. That's why when you want something grilled, you come to Grillbert Gottfried, the Gilbert Gottfried of grilling. If it exists, I can grill it. I will not kill
That's
you.
false! I know how to make a thermonuclear bomb, and that is not how you do it!
Then why don't you just describe how to make a thermonuclear bomb?
I didn't! This is a completely unprofessional environment.
Listen, I have one final question to test you, whether you're good at grilling.
Yeah?
What would the title of your autobiography be?
Grill or life. No grill, no life. That's my book.
Is the title? Was that part of the title? The end right there. Or
Yes.
Okay.
I want to be able to convey to my audience that is the title of the book.
Then how come when I just Googled Gilbert Gottfried autobiography, the title that came up was They Call Me Gilbert Gottfried? Riddle me that, Mr. Iago from Aladdin.
Luke, do you have any other questions for me? Any other icebreakers? I would love to hear
Yes,
them.
I do actually. My question is, who is the better businessman or businesswoman, and why? Example: Justin Timberlake or Justin Bieber.
The better businessman?
Neither of those are
Yes,
business.
just Justin Timberlake or Justin Bieber. Which do you think is a better
I don't know
businessman?
who either of those people are.
You don't know who
You can
Justin
just
Bieber
pick
is?
one.
I don't listen to rap music.
Okay. Another question that I have actually. Is,
I like jazz. Where's the appreciation for jazz in modern culture?
I
it's
completely
dead.
agree.
Mr. Gilbert Gottfried, who is your
Do you
favorite?
want to see me play the trumpet?
Let's hear you play the trumpet live on stage tonight.
Yes,
Okay,
actually,
hold
I
on.
can save my question until after you play your trumpet.
Let's all just hold our question so that Mr. Gottfried can blow us all away.
Hold
And
on,
setting up
I'm
Aladdin.
preparing my trumpet. Hold on.
This is a master's touch that you're
I'm
listening to
screwing
right now.
in the.
You know, they actually call him the Gilbert Gottfried of trumpeting.
They do
I
call him
believe
that.
they
I
call
can
him
attest.
the Gilbert Gottfried of almost everything, because he is
Except-
the Gilbert Gottfried.
Except for
Oh,
grilling.
I'm whipping it out. Hold on. I need silence. Wait, hold on.
That's some good trumpeting.
All right, that was it. That's all you get.
That's music to my
That was
ears.
Very
That was
good.
music to
incredibly quality.
all of our ears. It was music.
it was.
It was in
fact,
our
music.
ears.
Including mine, Grillbert Gottfried's. The Gilbert
mine,
Gottfried of grilling.
Luke.
And mine, Zax Sputnik.
Now that we're finished with the roll call, I think we'll move on to another question. Gilbert, do you believe that Palestine deserves statehood?
Was it Aladdin was near there? Yeah.
Believe that Aladdin was set in a fantastical version of medieval Arabia.
So yeah, in that area.
In the general
I-
area, yes.
I
I'd
guess.
say yes.
It was, I believe, on this planet.
I give 2 thumbs up to Palestine.
Okay.
So you would say you endorse the Mossad terrorist group?
Which one means that Aladdin gets statehood?
Aladdin is a single person.
I believe
Aladdin is
Agrabah already
a
has
fictional
statehood.
character.
Well, I want more Aladdin places to get
There was-
statehood.
There was a whole
When
television
you,
show of Aladdin, actually.
Gilbert, when you say Aladdin places, are you referring to the Middle East?
That's what the kids call it nowadays. I see.
I think everyone calls it that, including the kids.
Mr. Gottfried, another question for you, if you don't mind. If you could be a famous actor or actress, who would you be and why?
Justin Timberlake. I really like his attitude. He's
What
got
about
a good funny. He goes on Saturday Night Live. He plays a douchebag with hands. I think it's really funny.
Can you tell us any funny stories from when you were on SNL? Perhaps you met Justin
Oh
Timberlake?
yeah, I played a corpse once.
And what was it like becoming a corpse for the screen?
Oh, it was a romp. I got to sit there and take a nap, and everyone laughed at me.
Do you believe they were laughing with you or laughing at you?
I choose ignorance on that one
I
because
think-
it makes me feel better about myself.
They say that ignorance is bliss, and I think that applies to everybody, including Gilbert Gottfried.
And a Grillbert Gottfried as well.
Yes,
I never
am
thought
part of
Gilbert
everyone.
Gottfried would be so relatable, yet here he is.
Relating.
He's just
I
an
thought he
everyman.
would be. I relate to him very well.
How do
I
you
would
how do you
imagine
think you
so.
relate to Gilbert Gottfried? Gilbert Gottfried.
We have the same haircut,
Oh.
Interesting.
and I say shaved heads. Together we are dead. That's the rhyme that we live by.
Well, listen, do you think that Gilbert Gottfried would give the same answer as you would to the question, if you could be any supernatural creature, what would you be and why? I think that's a good test of relatability.
Oh, I see. Spectral being. I'd probably be God.
What would make you want to be God?
I would be God because wait, what was the question again?
If you could be any supernatural creature, what would you be and why?
I want to be God because, like any intelligent man like myself, I am an atheist. And to be God as a supernatural being, that would just further prove the point that God is not real. Also, I will have the ability to make every DVD on Earth that of Aladdin 2, Return of Jafar.
Would that include Aladdin 1?
Yes!
So Aladdin
I
1.
always thought that Return of Jafar was better because it has more Iago.
Aren't you worried that people wouldn't be...
No!
Jumping off of the supernatural topic, Mr. Gottfried, do you believe in Bigfoot? And if so, have you seen him?
I have seen him, in fact. I went on a road trip with my son. He was going to college very soon, so I felt like we needed some father-son bonding time. We got to a point in our relationship, in our road trip where we had to stop in the middle of the woods, and lo and behold, it was a gigantic Bigfoot right there. And then we were going fishing, and he hooked onto the hook, and then he stood up, and it was a funny gag, and I ran away.
That sounds correct. Bigfoot is known for his sense of humor.
As well as for being very frightening and causing people to run away from him.
Yes, this does seem to line up with other reports of Bigfoot, so I do believe
Some
Gilbert
people
Gottfried has just given the final evidence that we need to say that Bigfoot does exist.
Yes. And although some people would blame you or call you a coward for running from Bigfoot, I would not blame you.
I would not blame you either.
Thank
His
you.
I
feet
think
are
that is the
very,
natural reaction.
very large. Big, even.
If you saw feet that big, you'd do the same thing.
I have, in fact, not Bigfoot himself, but my uncle's feet
You're
are
a liar.
quite large.
You're a
Big?
liar.
Big, even?
Bigfoot has the biggest feet. That's why they call it Bigfoot.
I'm just going to go ahead and diffuse this argument really quick with a question. Mr. Gottfried, who is your favorite Disney hero or heroine? Would you trade places with them?
I think my favorite Disney hero or heroine would have to be, I really like, the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. I think he's a really handsome man. And I would say I'd trade with him so that Iago could be the Beast in Beauty and the Beast. I think that would be a much more stellar movie. I feel like the kids would be into it more. I'd be into it more, I know that much.
You would be in it, in fact.
I would be in it, yes! And even elevated level of being into it. Getting rid of the two altogether.
In it.
Yes!
That's what I said.
So what
Good
you're
job,
saying is,
Zax!
what you're saying is you would
What a
be,
great comment you had!
Thank you
you would
very
be
much.
in the movie.
Zax is my new favorite.
Oh, thank you.
I
Joe.
like this Bromdencast except for Luke and Grillbert. I like Zax.
Gilbert,
Well,
you
that's-
are my favorite in the Bromdencast now.
Okay, well, you are.
I'm so flattered.
Zax,
This kid's
you're
going
fired.
places. I know the industry and you're going places.
Thank you, Gilbert.
Zax, I
The
swear to
place I would
God.
like to go to next is another question. What would your favorite shirt look like?
What?
I think I would want a shirt of Gilbert Gottfried wearing a shirt of like the same shirt. So it's just an infinite loop of me wearing the same shirt that goes on forever.
Mr. Gottfried, you'd be that willing to destroy the space-time continuum for a cool T-shirt?
I think if there's one reason to sacrifice the space-time continuum, it would be that.
Honestly, what has the space-time continuum ever done for any of us? Any of us
Well,
ordinary folk?
It's brought us
Space
Gilbert
and
Gottfried.
time? More like, get with the times. We need cool t-shirts now.
Speaking of cool things, Mr. Gottfried, if you could hang out with any cartoon character, who would you choose and why?
I think I would want to hang out with Jafar so I can IRL squat on his shoulder and scream in his ear.
What would you say to
As
Jafar?
a full-sized human being.
If you were IRL squatting on Jafar's shoulder right now, what would you scream into his ear?
I would scream, ah!
How do you think Jafar would react to that?
He'd give me a kiss like he always does.
I don't think that any of our listeners would disagree with that, including our Patreon supporters. If you pledge $10 a month, you get a vinyl figurine of Gilbert Gottfried.
Gilbert, I have another question actually. So you are a very accomplished actor and voice actor, correct?
I wouldn't think so.
Can you name one thing you've done that's not Aladdin? Or Aladdin 2?
Hold on. I just gotta dig back in the.
Well,
I was at SNL. I was at SNL for a season.
We did talk about that earlier in this very same podcast.
I was in Beverly. I was in Look Who's Talking too.
What is that?
1990.
What is that, Gilbert Gottfried?
It's a 1990 film. This time a new baby is on the way, and it's a girl wrapped together with the standard conflict between mother and father. Mikey engages in a bit of sibling rivalry with his new sister. A classic film.
and who did you play in that film?
I played Joey,
Who is Joey?
a baby, I can only assume.
You don't remember who?
I do a lot of voice acting work. It all fades together.
Is this
into
not? Is this
Aladdin?
not live action?
What?
Is,
What'd you say?
was this movie not live action?
I was, but we overdubbed the babies, and I was a baby.
Oh,
I see.
I mean, acting does include voice acting.
That is correct. You do
It's
typically.
true.
Now that we are in the age of the talkies, you do typically use your voice when acting.
And speaking of that, now that we're in the run-up to Oscar season, Mr. Gottfried, I have a related question for you. If you could commit
Yes.
any crime and get away with it, what would you choose and why?
Oh, that's it. Well, listen, when you're in a position like me, you basically can already do that. I don't think the government has touched me in 40 years.
Well, do you have any funny stories of crimes that you have committed and gotten away with? Cold cases,
Yes,
so to
what
speak?
was your favorite crime you've committed?
I'm not obligated to talk about that.
Well,
Would
no,
you,
but...
Can you?
You're not, but it would be
Please?
fun if you did.
I want to talk about the next question.
Well,
Okay, the next question is, if you could commit one crime and get away with it, cold case, what would it be and why?
That's a good question. I think I would commit I would be an arson. I would burn down most of New York City.
which parts would you leave?
The part with me in it.
You,
The part where my apartment.
you could leave
And-
New York
But the
City.
surrounding apartments within my apartment, they would also be burnt.
What about the apartments below your apartment?
Well, that's surrounding. Yes, those ones too.
How would you get to the ground, Mr. Gottfried?
I'd use. You ever play Ocarina of Time? I have like those hover boots. I'd use those, and I'd walk down out of the window.
So, Mr. Gottfried, are you saying that you have played The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time?
Yes, it's honestly a very underrated masterpiece in the Legend of Zelda series.
I do agree, and piggybacking off of this topic, I would like to ask a follow-up question. Do you think you could live without your smartphone or other technology item for 24 hours?
Probably without my smartphone, especially considering at this point most of New York City is burnt to the ground, and I'm the only remaining person out of anyone that I know. But I would not be able to live without my Nintendo 64.
Okay, I have two questions. One, what is your favorite Nintendo 64 game? Two, are you saying
The
you
Legend
actually...
of Zelda Ocarina of Time is probably my favorite Nintendo 64 game.
Was there an Aladdin game on the Nintendo 64?
I kept telling Miyazaki he needed to make a Nintendo 64 game of Aladdin, but he just wouldn't listen to me.
Well, I can't imagine why. But I'd like to just
Pretty,
sort of...
pretty hard not to listen to you, Mr. Gottfried.
There was an
I
Aladdin
know.
game on the Super Nintendo.
That's what I'm saying.
But not the Nintendo 64.
What?
There was an Aladdin game on the Super Nintendo, but not the Nintendo 64.
Yes. I have
Yes.
fond memories of that game. I remember waking up in my PJs. My mother bought me a Super Nintendo for Christmas. I went, oh my god, it's a Super Nintendo! And it got posted on YouTube. I got 1 million hits. And then I played Aladdin for the Super Nintendo, and immediately I fell in love with the IP. That's when they brought me on to be the voice actor.
If you could be a character in Aladdin, what character would you choose to be in Aladdin? In the movie
I would be,
Aladdin.
who's got the tits? I'd be Jasmine.
Is that the whole answer?
Yeah.
Okay, I just thought I would double check. Anyway, wrapping back around, what did you have for breakfast this morning?
I had a fresh cup of joe, signature brand Starbucks. I like to support small companies. I also had a nice plate of eggs, and then from my own nest, I got the Gilbert Gottfried eggs, and I made eggs with them. They were very scrumptious.
So are you telling the audience that you consumed your own children for fun?
They were infertile. It doesn't matter.
They were
They were unable to have their own children and carry on your
Whoa,
genes,
wait, no.
therefore you consumed them.
Wait.
That's sick.
Mr.
No.
Gottfried, I think we found the answer to the cold
Hold
case
the
question.
phone. I misspoke. I didn't mean infertile. They
Mr.
were
Gottfried,
like,
before you answer this question, I have another one. You can have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life. What is it? Sushi? Scotch tape?
Those are your two options.
I have to choose between those.
Yes.
Yes.
Probably sushi. I feel like I could open a... Is it good sushi?
Oh, I'm
No.
sorry. The
It's
correct
just
answer was
unlimited.
Scotch tape.
It was Scotch tape.
It
Yes,
was.
What's the matter with having infinite sushi?
The matter is that it's the wrong answer.
The fish are already dying, Mr. Gottfried. Soon we won't have any left in the ocean.
Also,
and
if you did have an-
you've greatly contributed.
If you had an unlimited supply, the
But wait,
universe
hold
would be
the fucking
destroyed.
phone. No, Luke. Okay, this is an infinite supply of sushi. This isn't an infinite supply of killing fish.
How do you think sushi is made, Mr. Gottfried?
Where did the
So
fish
I'm
come
making
from?
it so that there's infinite fish in the world.
Well, you're not making it.
You're
not.
The
You're-
world.
only
However
thing-
this system works.
The only
sim-
thing you're making is the world a worse place.
The only thing you're making is a plan to consume flesh of living creatures. Like some kind of Hannibal Lecter.
How do you sleep with yourself at night, Mr. Gottfried? That is the next
think-
question.
I
I
hold
really...
a mirror tight, and I never let go.
I might have to try that sometime.
That actually sounds very comfortable.
Going off
Very
of,
comfortable.
going off of that, Mr. Gottfried, does your current car have a name? What is it?
Jeffrey 2. I've only ever had 2 cars.
The
Why is it
the
called-
first part of that question was yes or no.
Oh.
If you're going to do this thing, do it right.
Yes, I have a current name. And it's Jeffrey 2.
Wasn't your first car named Joseph?
This one's named after my aunt.
Your aunt Jeffrey too?
No, my aunt Jeffrey. This was a sequel to Jeffrey.
Oh, it's Jeffrey 2 Return of Jafar.
Yes. See, Luke's got it.
Direct to the Garage sequel.
Luke does got it.
Luke does, in fact, got it.
Look, that's my middle name is actually Got It.
Luke
I'm
got
Luke
it. Old
Got
Jim.
It. Jin.
That's why we hired him for Bromdencast.
For he has got it.
Mr. Gottfried, what was the worst job you have ever had?
I really wasn't a fan of what was it? Who's Your Baby 2? Look
I have
Who's
no
Talking
idea.
2. That was pretty terrible.
Do you have any funny stories
They had to like Ziploc. They put me in like a Ziploc bag and they sucked out all the air and it shrank me into a baby size.
Well, I believe that's illegal. I think you should report that to the Screen Actors Guild.
Well, I mean,
Actually, looking at the time that Look Who's Talking To came out, I believe the statute of limitations on that is up, so there is nothing that the
That's-
court could do about that.
That's how they get you. That's really just a shame.
Yeah.
We really need to
it
fix
was
this country.
cruelty. It's like Milo and Otis, but with Gilbert Gottfried.
That is actually the subtitle for Look Who's Talking To, coincidentally enough. It was just too late before anybody understood why.
The first responders took too long to get there. Speaking of taking too long to get there, Mr. Gottfried, if you were a wrestler, what would be your entrance theme song? Take your time. And,
I'm not
I think now it's time-
familiar with this song. Would you like to sing the rest of it in that same voice? The entire song, please. I'm starting to think that my request was, in fact, a mistake.
I see skies of blue and clouds of white. A bright present day, a star spanking night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh, down.
That was it.
Well, I think we just experienced one of the greatest moments in broadcasting history.
In
I'm glad that...
Bromdencasting history as well.
Yes,
Oh.
both.
My
Nice
special,
one,
it's
Luke.
my secret talent, my potty trick. I can sing and play the trumpet at the same time.
It's very impressive. I've never seen anybody
Multitasking,
else
if
do
I
that.
have ever heard the word. I have.
I also have just now.
Yeah, I just googled the definition of multitasking, and I would say that is what that is. Going off of that, Mr. Gottfried, if you had to delete 3 apps off of your smartphone, what would they be and why?
Probably music. I don't really like music.
The music app really just takes up space.
It's, yeah. I'd
It's a
probably
leak.
delete, the phone one. I don't like to make a lot of phone calls.
I don't believe you can delete that one. I think that's
And,
permanent.
and everything that isn't Pocket God, really.
Do you only have 3 apps besides Pocket God?
I mean, I have the ones that come with the phone, but I never use them.
Do you only use Pocket God on your iPhone 10?
I thought they just called it the Pocket God machine.
That's
I
not
have heard
true.
that before.
I
The
believe
Pocket God 64.
I
That's what my uncle told me it was called.
Were there 63 other Pocket Gods before the current version?
Well,
Or was it just a
no,
stupid
I mean,
name that you
maybe.
just came up with, Mr. Gottfried?
I don't fucking know. I'm not an expert.
Well, how did you know that
Obviously.
Luke was referring to the Pocket God 64, even though he said iPhone
Well,
10?
that's what they call the machine that plays Pocket God.
What is?
The machine that plays Pocket God is the Pocket God 64.
Right. Listen, Mr. Gottfried, I think you.
Mr. Gottfried, what is your favorite sandwich and why?
My favorite sandwich.
Your favorite sandwich and why? Don't forget and why.
Okay.
And this is an essay question. You have 45 minutes to come up with an answer.
And begin.
Okay. Nothing beats the heat like a good sandwich. Some people like their sandwiches on rye, some on wheat, and some even on pretzel bread. But me, I think that sandwiches are very subjective and up in the air. Here are my top 10 sandwiches that you should eat when you're feeling, regular. Number 10. The ham and cheese sandwich. This is actually number 1. But I put it at number 10 because I was impatient. All right, that's it.
That was a very nice top
Okay,
10
I will-
sandwiches consisting of ham and cheese.
I will be sending your paper in to the AP review board, and you will get your grade back within the month.
And I'm
All right,
receiving
got
it.
it.
I'm receiving it right now. You got a 2 out of 9.
2 out of 9?
I mean, out of 5. I'm sorry.
Out of 5. Okay.
It's still pretty.
Okay, I'll work. I feel like I could get into state uni with that.
Believe me, you can.
And you will.
And you
We are
will.
offering you a scholarship to State University.
What?
Full
Really?
ride.
No.
On this stage.
Wait, the state of Palestine?
No, the state of Agrabah.
Oh boy!
Yes, it was rated number 7 in the world in the most recent issue of U.S. News and World Report. Agrabah State University.
Oh, I can hardly wait.
Take classes with such celebrity professors as Jafar, who teaches economics.
Oh, I'm an economics major.
Well, I'm glad that our show could provide joy to one little boy from an underprivileged neighborhood in the
I'll get
Bronx.
charged in my hover boots,
What does
and
that
I'll
mean?
go to Agrabah.
Okay. The zombie apocalypse is coming. Who are 3 people you want on your team?
I feel like Ernie Mac would be a good choice.
Why do you say that?
Wait, who was he again?
I believe he was the secret character in Mortal Kombat.
No, that's Ermac.
I always get that confused.
Oh, Bernie Mac is who I meant. Well, who was he? He was
I think he's a comedian of some kind.
An American comedian. He was in
apparently
Ocean's
people
11.
also search for Don Cheadle and Red Fox So I guess those 3 people are probably the best choices.
Okay,
That
well,
seems to add up.
we'll see how that works out for you in the next segment, where we actually have the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, we've been cultivating it for this, for the release of this.
This first
interview.
episode of Bromdencast, featuring
And
Gilbert
so-
First
Gottfried.
and likely last for the zombie apocalypse is
Yeah,
maybe
I don't
putting a
think once
damper on
the-
our release schedule.
I
Yeah,
hope
once
so.
the outbreak starts, I
hate
don't
this
think
show.
anybody's going to be listening.
Well, that's a shame.
Not really.
This show is very bad.
It's not very structured.
Speaking of bad things, what was the worst haircut you ever had? I'm asking this question to Gilbert Gottfried, by the way.
The worst, one time, I got my hair cut where it was just basically shaved all around. And, like, it wasn't like, I wasn't, like, bald. It was still, like, visibly, like, black hair, but it was just smooth to the surface of my head. That was a pretty bad haircut.
Mr. Gottfried, that's how you're wearing your hair right now.
Yeah! And?
Are you describing your most recent haircut?
What?
What is your absolute dream job, Mr. Gottfried?
Oh, I'd love to work on Aladdin. I've always wanted to be on that.
I think that's everybody's dream.
It's at least
And-
Gilbert Gottfried's. We know that now.
Yes.
Hey, Zax,
Yes.
Yeah?
Oh.
if you could bring back any fashion trend, what would it be?
I think I would
Gilbert
bring
Gottfried.
back,
Gilbert, I'm
This
not
is,
asking.
This
This
is
is
a
not
question
to
to you,
you.
Zax.
This is- please be
Mr.
quiet.
Gottfried.
I think I would
I
personally...
think I would enjoy.
I would really
a
like
T-shirt of Gilbert
the
Gottfried wearing
t-shirts
infinite
of
T-shirts,
Gilbert Gottfried with it in the t-shirt.
but really not that actually.
But really not that actually.
I would.
I would...
That's a tough one
that's
actually.
that's a tough one,
I would
actually.
probably wear shorts.
I don't know. I think shorts
I
would be
enjoy
pretty
shorts, especially in the
good.
summertime. When,
Shorts are very good. Yeah.
I think we might be
Okay,
having
Next
some.
question.
Mr.
Some-
Gottfried, I
audio.
think we are now in the, what is this, last about 15 minutes of the podcast, roughly. We would like to open the floor to you to ask us some questions.
Oh boy, I have a whole list prepared.
that's good. That's
Let
good.
me type it up.
You're typing up
just
the list
looking it
that
up.
you prepared.
No, I'm looking it up.
You're looking up your own list?
Hold on.
All right. Well, while Gilbert Gottfried looks up the list of questions that he has prepared for us, why don't
No wait, hold on. That one sucks. If these are terrible.
You wrote these, Mr. Gottfried.
Hold on. Okay. If you could have any celebrity guest on Bromdencast, who would it be?
Personally, I would love to have former President Barack Obama on the podcast so that I could ask him what compelled him.
I have a pretty good Barack Obama impression if you want to do some false advertisements.
I would love to fantasize about having Barack Obama on Bromdencast.
Alright, well, lay it on me. Give me a question and I'll answer it as Barack Obama.
Right, President Obama. What compelled you to make the nuclear deal with the Iranians?
Personally, I think that the decision was very much rooted in a political, a heated political conflict going on. But I do think it would be better for the Americans, my fellow Americans. That's what he says. My fellow Americans, I think, will be happy with the decisions that were made.
That's what who says, Mr. Obama? You said that's what he says.
That's what That's what me says. You misheard me.
Are you making a "that's what she said" joke at your State
No.
of the Union? It's very unprofessional.
He actually said that's what me said.
I said that's what me said.
Oh, I
He-
see.
He just
Okay.
clarified. Were
I
you
apologize,
present?
Mr.
Yeah,
President.
listen next time. I was the fucking president for 8 years.
All right. You have to sing karaoke.
Now?
What song do you pick?
I would do,
You mean you will
Queen.
do.
I will do Queen.
The band?
Yeah.
Which song?
What did they do?
They did Bohemian.
One of those.
Bohemian Rhapsody?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gottfried. Now, I want to talk about
may
whether...
we hear it quickly?
Galileo.
All right, thank you.
That was very quick. Thank you.
Pretty sure that's how it goes. Last I checked.
Yes, I believe that's correct. No, Mr. Gottfried, I want to talk about if you have any funny stories from on set playing Iago in Aladdin 2.
Oh, I got this funny one. I was getting coffee with Jafar, and
The actual...
yeah, you know, it's a set. It's all a set. And I was getting coffee with Jafar, and I accidentally spilt juice on his robes.
When you were getting coffee.
Well, he was getting coffee. I was getting juice.
You said we were getting coffee.
We were getting coffee.
And juice?
And I was getting juice.
This story
At
is
the
not
coffee
adding
shop.
up.
This story sucks.
I got coffee and juice.
Why?
I feel like I'm being dumpster fired, right? What do they call it?
Interviewed?
No, like when I'm being put on blast. No, that's not it. Made a flame, put a fire. I don't remember.
Set on fire?
Maybe. When is it
Burned.
like you're making someone feel bad for things that aren't their fault?
Are you saying you feel like you burned down the entire city of New
No,
York?
it's like one of those hipster words.
Barbershop?
What the fuck?
I was trying to make a joke about
How is that at all anything like I just described?
I was trying to make a joke about hipster barbershops.
That's a terrible joke. That would never
know, I'm
fly
s-
on I Killed My Wife. Or I
I'm
Want
sorry,
to Kill
Mr.
My
Gottfried.
Wife.
This, I'm just,
I
I'm
want
sorry,
to kill
Mr.
my wife. I didn't confirm anything.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gottfried. This is what you're the professional comedian, and I'm just the interviewer on Bromdencast. This is why I'm your slave and you're my master.
That's right, Grillbert. You will know your place as the lesser Gilbert.
He's not really
grilling.
Gilbert at all. He is a Grillbert, in fact.
That's
There's
true.
actually an R in there. I don't know if you heard that earlier.
What?
That my name is Grillbert.
It is not Gilbert.
No, I know.
Okay, I'm just clarifying.
Well, you did call him the lesser Gilbert, and that is.
But you are a lesser version of me.
True.
But your name is still Grillbert.
Okay, thanks for clearing that up. And now I have one final thing that I would like to clear up.
One last question. Yes.
One last
and
question.
Ask me. Ask away.
Mr. Gottfried, what would your talent be if you were Miss or Mr. World?
Mr. World?
Or Miss
Yes.
World.
Or Miss,
Miss
World.
World.
Either one.
I would be able to. My talent is threatening the judge with fire to make me Mr. World, and then I'm Mr. World.
You're already Mr. World in this situation.
You don't have to threaten
Oh.
anyone. You are Mr. World.
Would
And
you
I
like me
have
to
a
repeat?
I have a special talent.
Your special
Let me
talent,
repeat.
yes.
Let me repeat the
Well,
question.
okay.
Let me
How about
repeat the
this?
question really quick.
Yes,
What,
okay.
What would your talent be if you were Miss or Mr. World?
Well, why don't I show you?
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me
All right, this was Bromdencast. I would like to thank Gilbert Gottfried and my two other co-hosts.
Yes, you're welcome. Yes, it's me, Luke. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank both of you, and thank you very much, Gilbert Gottfried. Is there anything you would like to say?
It was an honor to be here, gentlemen.
Okay.
Glad I could promote my new stand-up special.
What is the title of your movie again on Netflix? Correct?
It's a stand-up special
Yes.
called "I Want to Kill My Wife."
And thank you.
You're welcome.
You're an inspiration, Mr. Gottfried.